dog.
His attacks. He comes to this conclusion just before the missiles drop on the Dark Ones, and I really love this ending. It's such a cool commentary on how quick people are to assume malintent when there might be a million other explanations. The game, on the other hand, ends things with more of a soft question mark, while Artyom wonders if he really did the right thing here, which I think works just as well in a lot of ways. There's a secret ending in the game if you've done enough good deeds, which can actually be easy to miss, and I think that's really cool. For your first playthrough, you probably didn't even know this system was running in the background. You're only ever made aware of these moments by a brief flash of light after completing one of these humanitarian acts, and as far as I've seen, there is no in-game flavor text letting you know about all this. Then again, I do play this game without any of the heads-up display turned on, so I could be wrong about that. Well, anyways, if you've done enough good for humanity on your travels through the Metro, you're given a choice without really realizing it. You wrestle with the Dark One's mental attacks as you set up the machine needed to guide the nukes to their destination, and at this point, instead of blowing him away, you can shoot the guidance system instead. This sequence ends with the Dark One's reasoning humans may actually want peace, and Artyom gives a really cheesy quote from H.G. Wells. Of course, this is a great choice to have, especially since most of you would never even know it's there, but realistically, the canon ending is the one where Artyom realizes seconds too late that these things might just want to coexist with humanity. This secret good ending is great to have in the game, especially when it's pretty hard to access, but I can't deny that the bad one has a much greater narrative effect, or at least it did on me. And having said all that, let's bring back the rest of the survivors to put a bow on this little package.
Okay, saddle up. По коням, ребята.
So without spoiling what I think is a really good ending, I'll say that things at the end of Metro 2033 mirror things at the start. It can be seen as a commentary on the nature of man, but pragmatists may likely see a story written about the way people are and not so much a condemnation of that fact. No matter how you interpret it though, I think it's a killer way to send things off and a great little ending to an awesome and interesting story. Before the game wraps up, you'll have several smaller and, in my opinion, just as interesting side stories come your way. For just a few examples, there's all this amazingly deep inter-metro politics going on all around you. The Nazis are warring with the communists, each one taking control of key stations in the metro, and then of course there's Han, who chooses to walk the tunnels no one else will. This guy knows full well how the death and suffering seen inside these tunnels can seep into the very walls and embed itself there. He's seen firsthand the kind of scars that can be left here, and there's this feeling that he kind of has one foot in our world and another there with the silhouettes, which are shadows of human suffering looking to drag the unfortunate down with them. The Metro is filled with pocket stories like this, and that's what I love about this IP. It is very much the story of Artyom and his quest to save everyone in the Metro, but it's also a story of the Metro itself. This location just screams perfection to me. A lot like Stalker's Exclusion Zone, the Metro is a setting where the everyday and sci-fi can rub elbows without stretching suspension of disbelief too much. Sure, it's weird, there are psychic mutants, giant insects, and balls of electricity down here, but then again, we are living in a post-apocalypse world here. If you ask me, the extreme amounts of radiation topside perfectly explain all this away. Like I said in my Stalker retrospective, radiation has always seemed like a modern-day source of magic to me. I mean, we all have at least a base-level knowledge of what it is and how it works, roughly speaking, but there's still this air of mystery and wonder about it. Thanks to that one element, the sci-fi in this story seems so much easier to swallow compared to others. The librarians and Nosalises should seem like aliens to me, but instead they look like two branches of an evolutionary tree I just wasn't aware of till now.
I remember this. I remember that very strongly.
Listen, maybe I'm
That was the
dragging
best
this out
moment
a
in the
bit,
game.
but the point is Metro
That shit was
2033
awesome.
is the perfect combination of action, sci-fi, human drama, and mystery. And I think the reason this game world feels so real to me is because its literary inspiration is likely one of my absolute favorite books, right behind A Roadside Picnic. Metro 2033's book is an incredible read, and while I'd love to turn this into a book review right here and now, the good news is I don't really have to. Unlike Stalker's approach, having the game set in a world inspired by a combination book, movie, and whatever they came up with during development, 4A flat out transcribed the book's events into the game as they existed, and the result is something amazing. I mean, sure, you're always going to have more time to describe things in a book, and the world seems so much more rich and realistic because you basically modeled it in your own head, but in the very small realm of book to video game adaptations, I have no doubt in my mind this is the most accurate in existence. Sure, there's going to be some elements missing here and there, but it feels like all the book's high points at least get touched on in the game. And in some ways, not having all that room for descriptive language can help the game have even more mystery and intrigue than the book does. Trust me, if you're even the least bit interested in this game, properties like Stalker, or just the idea of nuclear-driven apocalypses, Metro 2033 will be an amazing read for you. For those of you who aren't down with doing a little bit of reading, which I totally understand, the good news is the game is close enough to the source material that you're not going to miss out on so much. Alright, so I'll go ahead and wrap this up because I could talk about Metro's rich world and interesting characters forever. The takeaway here should be that this game has an amazingly fun and
It's a
meaningful
linear
story.
shooter.
It resonates with me, I think, because of how much it shares with books like A
Because you're
Roadside
an
Picnic
autistic
and The
shooter
Road.
kid who
And
got
now that I
stuck
say
on
that
this
out
game.
loud, it seems like I really get
it's-
into some depressing-ass media.
It's a linear shooter.
Maybe there's something to that. Oh well, anyways, there's just the right amount of fantastical sci-fi and down-to-earth human drama here. It is as much
it
of a
was
story
really
of
good.
humans struggling to live through the end of the world as it is one about psychic evolved humanoids and the possible threat they may pose. Once again, though, it's not so much the story that deserves all the praise here, but the world it takes place in. There's just so much detail dripping from every brick of this thing. Each human outpost feels like a real place people would live, and it seems like everything's been thought of. From what these people eat down here to how they go about waging war. People have old wives' tales about not listening to the sound the pipes make for too long, lest you hear the sound of people faintly singing and be lost to the metro forever. This is just an incredible place to set a story, and even if this weren't a great tale, although it very much is, it wouldn't even matter. The world of the Metro feels real and tangible, and if you haven't noticed yet, that's exactly what I look for in video games. Immersive universes far from my own, but close enough that I can still feel at home there. And if that's what you look for as well, then, well, you need to look no further. This
I
is the
couldn't feel at home
proverbial
in this
last
game at
stop
all.
on
It
the
was
train
such a
that is the search for a
claustrophobic,
convincing narrative setting. Metro 2033, both the book and the game, get a massive thumbs up from me, and that comes with a heavy recommendation to you guys. You really do have to see all this for yourself. Just make sure to stay on your toes and don't turn your back on a librarian. Trust me on that. When it actually comes down to playing Metro, things aren't quite so cut and dry that I could just call it one genre or another. There's a lot to do down here in the Metro, but before we cover all that, we have to talk about some prerequisites, and since I'm not really sure where to put this, I'll go ahead and get out of the way early. I ran into an incredibly nasty issue running 2033 Redux on my gaming PC. At random points, the game would just crash to my desktop. Mostly what would just happen is the game would load the next level, but I had plenty that took place during actual gameplay as well. The shitty thing being, Metro Redux saves your progress as you load into a new level, meaning if the game crashed before that level loads, well, as far as it's concerned, you never got there, so you're going to have to replay that entire section again and get back to that loading screen, which may or may not crash again on you. Guys, believe me when I say I racked my brain trying to figure this issue out. I downloaded fan-made patches from dubious sources, disabled applications running in the background, the works. Nothing I came across seemed to do the trick until I stumbled upon a very, very small thread on Steam. It turns out the crashes I was experiencing were caused by two graphic settings. And yes, I know that sounds ridiculous, but here we are. Truth be told, I never had this problem with Redux before I got an RTX GPU, so maybe that's the culprit, but either way, if you guys find yourself with the same issue, just turn tessellation to normal in the video tab, and then head to the gameplay options and turn advanced physics off. Now that physics setting is a bit of a loss since it makes stuff like fog more volumetric looking and causes a lot more debris to be thrown around during firefights, but trust me when I say it is not worth the frustration it might cause you. And with that very, very weird problem out of the way, before you even start a new game, you're going to need to pick from a good slew of difficulties and sub-difficulties, I guess. You start by selecting an overall gameplay mode. Since this is the Redux version of 2033, aka the one 99.9% of you will be able to get your hands on, they include an option to play this game sort of like its less punishing sequel Last Light. And I'm gonna be straight up honest with you guys, I have never even tried this option out before. I prefer the survival method for a few reasons. First, I feel like this was the idea behind 2033 when it launched. I know it's kind of stupid, but there's just something nice about experiencing a game the way the developers intended, but more importantly, this is the option that plays more to my taste in these kind of games. Everything you're going to need to play this game will be in short supply, and while it sounds a little masochistic to purposely seek out stress in my escapist media, I think there's some amazing moments to be found when you're down to your last 30 seconds of filtered air on the surface, and you're frantically searching corpses to see who died with a few extra filters on them. The same rationale goes for ammo. Just like everything else, it can be really hard to come by on survival mode, and this gives a lot of weight to which gun you're going to use and when. So naturally, a mode tuned more in this direction is going to be my favorite, but really I don't think there's anything wrong with coming into this game and playing it the way you want to. I just have to be very clear from the start of this little gameplay analysis that my experience with 2033 will be coming from a survival playthrough, and that means everything I say from here on out may never translate over to your playthrough, so keep that in mind. Sure, I do think survival is how the game was meant to be played, but that's for me. Hopefully by the end of this section you'll agree, but if not, play this and really any other game however you want. Don't let internet assholes like me tell you how to have fun. Once you've actually decided on your playstyle, you'll get a more traditional difficulty selection, and again, this is going to require some explanation. The game's normal mode is, well, exactly what you would expect. Pretty run-of-the-mill. Yeah, the base game is a little more difficult than your average console FPS, so expect a challenge, but I doubt it'll have anyone beating their heads against the wall. Aside from your normal tweaks to HP and damage values, you'll also have less of a chance of getting caught in the stealth modes, which might be preferable to some people. But the real key point here is that this game, or at least this game on survival mode, is already relatively hard. Keeping that in mind, each step you take away from normal, you sacrifice a bit of sanity, and it sounds weird,
relatively
but
hard
I
in
sort
that
of
if you don't
recommend you
know
do
it,
that.
you're gonna fail.
Hardcore is pretty rough and a solid challenge, but I always stick with the Ranger difficulties, and the reason for that is a little less gameplay oriented than you might think. Ranger and Ranger Hardcore are the only true ways you can actively disable this game's heads-up display, and if you know me, you know that's kind of my thing. So I guess it's a good thing that I also enjoy a game that can beat my ass in a fist fight, because that is exactly what you get with these modes. Nearly every single element you could think of gets tweaked into tough as nails territory. Enemies are now way more likely to spot you in stealth areas, and every noise you make could be giving your position away. Items and ammo, like you would expect, are even more rare in these modes, but to be honest, I still finished the game with full healing items and ammo for each gun, so take that for what it's worth. With all that being said, you'd figure the difficulty I reach for most would be my recommendation to everyone else, and it is, but only if you've already played through this game. Turning off the heads-up display in a video game is all well and good. I'm always for it, but in this specific case, it means you'll be missing out on a lot of key elements the game was sort of built around. For example, if you hadn't played this game already, would you have known light sources like lanterns can be turned off so you can sneak by unnoticed? With no indicator besides good old-fashioned intuition, there's no real way for you to know you can knock people out with the use key if you're behind them. Sure, you could figure this stuff out beforehand or just play it and learn it as you go, but even then, you won't know what can and can't be interacted with, and on these two difficulties, a good portion of your time will be spent looking for hidden resources. So if you're a new resident to the Metro, maybe don't handicap yourself from the start, and just go with hardcore. Believe me, this game is unforgiving enough as it is, and it doesn't need your help getting any harder. Okay, so now that we've spent nearly an entire page of this script talking about the two menus you'll see just after clicking that new game button, how does this all work together? Well, at its heart, Metro is a first-person shooter, obviously, but instead of your average focus on combat seen in other FPS titles, this game has you engaging in exploration, scavenging, and stealth a lot more than you'll be in any shootouts. And before we go on, we do have to address one pretty major factor in Metro's equation. This game is about as linear as the tunnels it takes place in, so the story is going to be leading you by the nose through its events with little to no deviation to be found. Every single set piece is heavily scripted, and you'll almost never be doing something the developers didn't account for. Now, that may sound like a complaint, but I assure you it is not. Open world hijinks can be very fun with all of its randomness, but there is just as much fun to be found in a heavily curated and directed experience. I know a lot of reviews for this game really nail on the point that it's linear, but it kind of feels like the difference between taking a guided tour of a museum versus just showing up and walking around. Sure, it can be great following your own path and figuring things out for yourself, but there's also value in letting someone calculate the optimal route for you to see and do all the cool stuff there is. The game starts off with what should be a relatively straight line. Get your ass to Polis Station and let the rangers know what's been happening at Exhibition, but your literal first step out of your home station will have that straight line looking more like a modern Gore Slam logo. Every new destination you mark on your map turns into you getting chased through abandoned tunnelways by some ungodly horror or stations in the middle of a mutant takeover. And in that sense, I would say the game does an awesome job at making progression feel frantic and organic at the same time. Sure, the game is programmed in one and only one way, but if you're following the story and getting immersed into the game world, these won't feel like scripted moments, but instead the random events that can take place in a setting where something like this is flying around unchecked. You also get the added bonus of seeing a great variety of locations. I mean, yeah, most of them are going to be at a metro station, but you'd be surprised how many cool spots there are down here to explore. Progression seems to be broken up into two parts. There's the trek that'll get you to your destination, which either takes place in the tunnels between points A and B or the streets above, and once you've arrived, there's the business of making your way through and out of said station. In my opinion, the walks around the tunnels are actually really great, but people more focused on gameplay than atmosphere and world building might get annoyed at the amount of time they'll be following an NPC around while expository conversations take place. Personally, this never bothered me too much because I really like this world and want to see more of it, but really there's another reason. These moments in between destinations will always be filled with tons of potentially hidden loot. So while I sit here and try to look all cool and narratively involved, realistically my NPC partner will just start talking my ear off while I typically disappear down some dark subtunnel, hoping to find a dead body stuffed to the brim with shells and throwing knives. Here in the Redux version, they've added keys that can be found which will unlock safes that are scattered everywhere. Both the safes and the keys can be easy to miss if you're not really paying attention, and I feel like this is a great way to reward the kind of exploration I was going to be doing anyways. After the tunnels or Moscow streets have been thoroughly explored and looted, you have one of three possible outcomes. This new location could be a place meant to move the story along, meaning you can find a few secrets, refill your ammo pools, and customize your weapons before you're off to the next place. Typically, there's not a whole lot of exploration to be done in these sequences, that is when you actually have control of your character, but it never hurts to venture off the beaten path for a few cartridges and a med pack. After these sections, you have the next possible outcome, which is the stealth encounter, and that is exactly what it sounds like.
See, like if I could get an infinite ammo code, I would play the game because I don't want to search all the nooks and crannies for the ammo. I just want to do the linear line and finish the game because it's got really good content, but hunting through all the nooks and crannies isn't fun to me in a linear game. I'm terribly sorry, it's not. But I got rid of all you idiots. Let's go. Where do I go? Oh, return to camp to tell the others that Mordred has all 3 artifacts. Where's that? God, your UI sucks. I can't wait until the change. They're gonna give me like a ice gauntlet, maybe. Okay, so I go home, huh? Where is my hearth now? Is it here? Yes, it is.
Stealth in this game falls under the modern mainstream approach to stealth mechanics, which I'm definitely not complaining about because the added difficulty of Ranger mode can make these trials pretty damn tough. Depending on your loadout, you can have a lot of potential tools in your arsenal to get through a stealth mission, but for those of you planning a first-time playthrough, just to be safe, always have a silenced weapon on you of some kind. Throwing knives and takedowns are definitely great and all, but nothing beats compressed air launching a ball bearing straight into some Nazi's brain pan at subsonic speeds from across the room. In these sections, you'll find homemade traps of every kind, debris which can make noise bringing unwanted heat down on your head, and a tense soundtrack that heightens that nervous feeling to an insane degree. Enemy AI isn't the smartest thing ever programmed, but it puts up one hell of a fight regardless. Mostly I found your best bet is to stick near big groups of bad guys and wait for their conversations to finish. Oftentimes, that'll have each of them going their own way and you can pick off the stragglers as they venture outside of earshot from the group. The autosave feature here is checkpoint based, so you're not going to be save scumming your way through these stealth areas, which can be a blessing and a curse. Like I said, it's good to stop and slowly stalk your prey. Staying crouched and hidden while 2 bandits talk about who they're gonna rob next is fun for a first or second time playthrough, but I managed to get caught for really stupid stuff a lot in this game, and having to set up all of those stealth kills over and over again can be a real pain. Overall though, I would say, and trust me, I get how weird this is gonna sound, the stealth in this first-person shooter might be my favorite element. For one, it's tense as all hell, and the great dynamic lighting mixed with the stress-induced panic attack of a soundtrack makes for some real fun. And second, if I'm tired of sneaking around like a wuss, I can just stand up and start spitting lead, which I think brings us into the third category of location in this game, and the main pillar on which it was built, shooting.
Yeah,
So
their impacts felt good, like really good for their time, and I think they changed the scene. Actually, when we saw the combat, it was very satisfying watching the bullets hit the bodies because you could see the mob like physically recoil and stuff, and that was new for its time. But this is an old game from like 2008 or something like that.
Is the shooting good or not? Well, I wish I could give you a simple yes or no answer on this one. I mean, it should be easy, but there's really 2 answers to give, yes and no. When you're popping up from cover and trading fire with the Metro's many surviving humans, things run perfectly. Each firearm in the game has very clear positives and trade-offs, so you might switch from one to the other based on all kinds of factors. But most importantly of all, they just feel great to shoot. There's a nearly haptic feedback to the shooting in this game, with stuff like screen shake, gun kick, muzzle flash, and sound effects all coming together into a gunshot you can almost feel through your keyboard and mouse. Further adding to that plus are enemy reactions to those shots on the harder difficulties. Most people in the Metro only need a shot or 2 to permanently end on Ranger difficulty, with only heavily armored foes requiring more than a single trigger pull. But more than that, I think it's their animations that sell the effect. They're very fluid and expressive, and they help sell each shot like it has weight and consequence. And I wish that's where I could stop, but sadly it's not. In exploring the Moscow Metro, you might on occasion have to plug a few post-war mutants, and this is where the shooting in this first-person shooter really falters. On the harder difficulties I was just praising for their added benefit to the shooting mechanics, mutants can take way more punishment and deal out even more of it themselves. But there are 2 factors working in tandem with the added toughness to make for a less than fun time. First off, the additional strain these things cause on your ammo supply in a difficulty that's already keeping resources from you can be staggering. Like I said, they can take a buttload of lead to take down, and in a Ranger playthrough you may not be able to afford that kind of encounter. And yeah, I do know what you're thinking. No, you cannot avoid these fights. Sure, most of them do go down with 1 or maybe 2 headshots, but that process is made incredibly difficult by the second element at play here. They're amazingly fluid and dynamic animations. An element you'd figure someone like me would be praising, and most of the time you would be right, but in this one scenario, it's not so much the case. Most mutants are fast as hell and have some kind of exaggerated movement going on in nearly every inch of their body. And if you thought hitting a moving target was hard before, well, maybe try doing it while wearing a fogged up gas mask during an ice storm while every single limb on that target's body is vibrating. The way these things animate is just too chaotic to predict, so you might be watching their death animation where they roll to the ground, which is good, but you might also be seeing their pain state that also has them rolling to the ground, which is bad. I genuinely feel like nearly half the hits I took in this game came from mutants I shot as they jumped at me and assumed were dead. Some of their death animations can last a very long time as well, so I wasted a crazy amount of bullets on dead mutants whose tumbling forward animation looked an awful lot like their charging forward one. Headshots are just an absolute ass to get in the heat of what will often be incredibly close quarters fighting, and when you do get them at a distance, you often have to wait till a long animation finishes till you can take your eyes off them. And realistically, by the time you've confirmed they're actually dead and not just in a hit stun, the rest of the fight has likely made its way right to you. Nearly every death I had in this run came from the few sections where I had no choice but to shoot it out with these things, and that really sucks because the human-on-human firefights were so damn enjoyable. Maybe if the mutants didn't hit like Mack trucks or move faster than cheetahs, they'd be a little easier bullet sponges to shoot at, but as it is, a playthrough on harder difficulties can feel almost broken thanks to 1 or maybe 2 scenes in the game. The good news being the positives here far outweigh the negatives. You will almost always be able to persevere through these fights using either skill, dumb luck, or both in my case, and your reward will be continuing to engage with all the things Metro gets so right. For example, its interactivity. Now, I know when I just said that, you automatically assumed that meant being able to interact with your environment, and while yeah, that is a thing, I was more talking about interacting with your gear. The battery for your flashlight and other electronics needs to be manually charged every so often.
Oh,
Your
I
air
hated
pressure-based
it.
weapons will need to
Oh,
be
yeah,
pumped
the
up. Blood
flashlight,
can be wiped
yeah.
off your mask. Spider webs will need to be burned with a lighter, which, by the way, can act as a separate light source. Did your gas mask take a little too much damage during a fight? Well, better find one off a dead body to swap with. Speaking of which, you have to actively change filters in that gas mask. There's even a key mapped specifically to checking how much breathable air you have left. There's just a lot you can do in this game once you get your hands on a few items. Reload animations also play into that same role, really making each gun feel tangible and weighty. And the same thing goes for the animation
good
that plays
comeback
when
game.
using a healing item. All of these actions that could have easily been handled inside of a menu or with a single button press, instead have these incredibly expressive mechanics attached to them. And it all sells this world as being a place you can actually feel around you. In that same vein, ammunition isn't represented by a flat 2D object on a corpse. Each shell or magazine actually occupies space on their body, and you'll see them shift and move as you remove them. Individual rounds can be seen inside magazines, which will let you know at a glance who's got what you want and who doesn't. There's so many small elements here combining together to form this massive, incredibly expressive mechanics attached to them, and it all sells this world as being a place you can actually feel around you. In that same vein, ammunition isn't represented by a flat 2D object on a corpse. Each shell or magazine actually occupies space on their body, and you'll see them shift and move as you remove them. Individual rounds can be seen inside magazines, which will let you know at a glance who's got what you want and who doesn't. There's so many small elements here combining together to form this massively immersive gameplay experience. There are just a million tiny areas of the game that require your input to function, and that really sells the effect of this game world being real and tangible. Continuing with that idea, weapons can be customized to an awesome degree, or at least they can in Redux, but we'll talk about that later. Truth be told, I'm a bit of a sucker for weapon customization of any kind in a game, and being given all of these equally viable options for specific approaches is just icing on a very radioactive cake. From what it seems to me, there are no bad options in this game as far as the arsenal goes, just bad scenarios to use them in. For example, installing a suppressor on your revolver can help you get through a stealth section without turning it into a John Woo movie, but the loss in penetration might make you a walking snack for any mutants you may have to fight later. If you're like me, the laser sight will be a must since I'm an idiot and handicap myself by getting rid of the on-screen aiming reticle on purpose in the name of more immersion, but there are all kinds of other options for you. For example, scopes can be great for those long off shots, but how are you going to aim up close then? There's really a lot you can do with the comparatively light arsenal on offer in Metro, and sometimes most of the thrill of starting a new playthrough is trying a different loadout and seeing how much it changes the game.
Enemy near!
It's not all good though. On the opposite end of things, there's this one area that mutants have recently infested and you want to get through. There are these holes all over the place that these little shits use to get around, meaning there's almost never a time when you can damage them until they're right on top of you. They're also quiet as all hell, so they always got in a few hits on me before I even knew they were there, and I'm pretty sure they respawn infinitely because I've killed what seems like 1,000,000 of them before. So instead of the well-designed and tightly constructed nature of the game we're used to, it sort of becomes a choice of, do I make this an ammo dump or a healing item dump? And no matter which one you decided on, one of them was going the way of the buffalo by the end of that section. And I feel like this could have been better tuned for harder difficulties, which I know is a sentiment you've probably gotten by now. But it really was an issue for me, a blight on what was otherwise a great difficulty mode. The stealth, ammo scarcity, and danger of taking any damage is all perfect in my opinion on Ranger and Ranger Hardcore mode, but for me at least, the mutant encounters seem to break the game. Trust me, I am perfectly willing to accept I might just suck at video games, but I imagine there's more than a few Metro vets in the audience that have had the same experience. And by the way, I better not hear one single word in the comment section about blowing those holes up with pipe bombs. I tried that. It does nothing, I assure you. Back on the positive side of things though, I really enjoyed sneaking around in the shadows looking for spare ammo and trinkets. Like I said, these tunnels are definitely linear, but that doesn't mean there aren't about 1,000,000 hidden items all around you at any one time. So you're always being rewarded for getting curious enough to look around, and that in turn makes you want to do it even more. Plus, scavenging all your stuff from dead bodies plays really well into this narrative universe where resources are stretched so thin, not even a single usable item can be passed up, even if it's currently in the clutches of a corpse. So scavenging from the dead is not only a common practice in this world, but an encouraged one. Not just by the game itself, but by the residents of the Metro. And I think that's a big reason this game resonated with so many of us Stalker fans right off the bat. Every mechanic in Metro, every design choice, and every decision made during development seems to have been done with the expressed purpose of further immersing you into its world. Like you might have noticed by this point, I tend to gravitate towards games that have very strong, well-established game worlds. Worlds I can fall into while playing that game. For me, gameplay, in terms of sheer mechanical ease of use, is nowhere near as important as the developers putting me into the place they're showing me on my display. My obsession with immersive, living, breathing settings certainly colors my taste in games and hopefully explains why I'm able to recommend you guys try out video games that may fall into that not quite good category, technically speaking. And I say that because this is not one of those scenarios. Certainly Metro focuses on immersion way harder than most games out there, but what I'm trying to say is that this is not a Stalker situation, where you actively have to get over major and real gameplay flaws in order to enjoy it. On normal difficulty, Metro is incredibly playable, and just about every flaw I've listed is non-existent. No joke, most of my complaints so far have been caused by my own obsession with the Ranger level difficulties. As an example, it can be an absolute pain in the ass throwing a knife without having an on-screen reticle to show where the hell it's going to go. So you may need to improvise by using a gun that has a scope or look down something's iron sights, then throw the knife, but I can't exactly complain about that when I willingly got rid of that feature myself. And no, I do not know why I always do this to myself, but clear signs of mental illness aside, I can say with certainty that Metro 2033 Redux is not lacking in the gameplay department. It genuinely drips attention to detail, and while some may criticize its linearity, I see it as a plus in this scenario. The developers were able to meticulously handcraft every tunnel you trek through and every fight you get in while in those tunnels, and the result is a game that feels like much more of a high-quality package than the FPS games it shared shelf space with back in its day. And speaking of back in its day, we should probably take a look at 2033's first iteration, shouldn't we? I mean, realistically, yes, Redux added a shit ton of awesome improvements and is the version I would recommend everyone play anyways, on top of the fact that you can't really get your hands on it through official channels anymore. But all that being said, it really wouldn't be an Avalanche Reviews video if we didn't do a little digging into previous versions and ports of a game, right? Well, too bad, we're doing it anyways.
This cowardly maggot has been sentenced to death.
Metro 2033 getting a Redux version released might lead you to believe that the original was flawed in some way that needed to be fixed, but honestly, getting back into it for this video, I was surprised to see how well it still holds up today. I mean, I definitely miss small things, like being able to use a lighter to burn spider webs, wipe my mask off, or do stealth takedowns, but all things considered, this original release still impresses. I'll tell you one thing though, if you thought the difficulty in Redux was tough, don't get anywhere near the higher difficulties in the original. In just the regular hardcore mode, I found I was getting spotted a lot in stealth sections, and when I did, firefights were a death sentence. So I can tell you one thing without a doubt in my mind, if you're looking for a brutal challenge and Redux just doesn't hold up, you have to try the original. It is insane. Also, weapons can no longer be customized freely, so if you want a silencer for your revolver, you're going to need to buy a whole new revolver with one already attached, which can definitely make getting a good loadout pretty damn tough in the early hours of the game when you've got next to no cartridges on you. Other than that, the Redux version adds a few extra secrets here or there and makes slight expansions on some select maps, but overall, like I already said, the original release of the game still holds up surprisingly well. In fact, I'd say it sort of acts like a Metro 2033 hard mode for those of us that like a game that kicks our teeth in. So if you end up picking Redux up after this video but find it to be a little too accessible, well, 4A's got you covered. Sadly though, the only legal way to have this game in your digital library is to have already bought it when it came out because it has since been delisted, but you're an enterprising crowd and I'm pretty sure you'll figure something out.
Ah, shit.
As you guys may have noticed by now, I've been comparing this game to Stalker a lot, and that's not just because these guys also made Stalker. It's because both games follow in that same spirit of making slight tweaks to the first-person shooter formula, with the result being a game that on the surface looks pretty boilerplate, but operates on a much more technically impressive level than any of its peers. So what does that translate into in plain, understandable English? This game is an incredible time. Every single time I install it, I always end up getting re-impressed with how much it's able to wow me. Truthfully, I'm not really a big stealth guy, or for that matter a massive FPS fan, but there's just something here that hits different than anything I've ever played before. As a warning, some of you newcomers may want to try the normal difficulty first before banging your head against the brick wall that is Ranger, but no matter which option you choose, you will have in front of you a title that is more revolutionary than I think most people are willing to admit. It blends perfectly the quiet, contemplative, DIY nature of Stalker with the heavily curated, balls-to-the-wall action of a modern Call of Duty title, and that is a pretty damn hard task to pull off. So hats off to 4A for landing an absolute knockout with Metro. This is one of the most fun and viscerally immersive titles I've ever laid my hands on, and if we're going on gameplay alone, it is massively impressive. But you guys know me. Actually interacting with the game tends to be pretty low on my list of priorities. How it looks, though, that gets me a little more interested. The original release of Metro 2033 was a marvel in its day, helped by what seems to be a massive focus on impressive dynamic lighting, shadows, and reflections. Much like the game you're probably all tired of hearing me compare things to, Stalker, it seems like all of 4A's attention went into the world around the player and maybe not as much filtered into smaller things like facial animations or skin that doesn't look like melted wax.
Артемка! Free at last, huh?
A compromise that makes a lot of sense when you consider the fact that a majority of your time will either be spent in gloomy tunnels only lit by bioluminescent mushrooms or sneaking around a room with no lights on, hoping to God no one sees you. I'd love to tell you how this game performed compared to others in its class back in the day, but I was running some pretty lackluster hardware back then, and I could rarely get the game running the way I would like. Now that I'm rocking gear that could run several simultaneous instances of this game, plus more, and not even break a sweat, the only thing I can tell you for sure is yes, there is a marked improvement in frames per second when you upgrade from a GTX 770 to an RTX 3080 Ti. Getting back on track though, when I reinstalled the first release of this game for this video, I was actually pretty blown away. Minus some of the plasticky, uncanny valley faces, I bet you could pass this off as a modern release with no issues whatsoever. Mostly thanks to a heavy use of environmental and post-processing effects like the particles that could float in light shafts, the moisture droplets and blood that can collect on your mask, and of course the nearly volumetric looking fog. Of course, all of these things would be great to have on their own, but each of these individual elements interacts with the lighting in one way or another, and it makes for a much more dynamic and visually interesting picture, even in areas that may have slightly less good lighting or a less intricate design. And there's examples of this all over the place. You could take a boring room with some chairs and a single corpse in it and just drop a lantern in the middle. All of a sudden you have one hell of a scene. Of course, Metro did come from the leftover genetic material from Stalker's development, so I sure hope you weren't expecting a flawless visual experience, because you will not be getting that. You'll see odd stuff going on all over the place in the Metro, and only some of it can be explained by radiation or anomalies. People will phase through objects, or you might suddenly find that items lag behind animations, but I think the worst offender in that department for me was the odd stuff going on with the animations applied to mutants. It's something I would imagine most people wouldn't quite notice or care much about even if they did, but there's this full model motion blur that's happening when mutants move around, and it's really off-putting. I'm not really sure if this was a stylistic choice or maybe some way to interpolate frames when there's a lot of other mutants on screen, but it really messed with me tracking them as targets. I missed a lot of shots because the microsecond it takes my brain to send out the press mouse button signal, the mutant I was aiming at turns into a blurry mess, and at that point where this thing's head is anyone's guess. And this next one is a real oddity to me. I'm not really sure what's going on, but it seems to me the picture here is being stretched on the vertical axis. It's not by a whole lot, but character models seem unnaturally tall and thin, while things like the disc representing when the game's auto-saving appears oval-shaped instead of circular. And yes, I certainly made sure that my settings hadn't somehow switched to some other aspect ratio without me knowing, and yeah, it's just 2560 by 1440. I feel like this might be a just me thing though. I do use an ultra-wide monitor to game on and edit, but I have it set not to scale anything that's lower than its native resolution, and I have a similar setting for my GPU. And if this does turn out to be a scaling issue with my monitor, it would be really weird for that to also show up in my Shadowplay recordings, which is coming straight from my GPU. I got pretty curious after noticing this and compared it to console recorded footage, and there does seem to be some kind of stretching going on here that I can't really account for. If anyone else has noticed some kind of issue like this with Metro 2033 or Redux on PC, let me know, because I would love not to feel like the only sane man in a world gone crazy. Speaking of noticing things, it looks to me like they avoided drawing really big dynamic shadows from sources like flashlights by having 3D models project these very small, artificial-looking shaded halos when hit from any angle with a dynamic light source. A move that was probably a good idea in a game that's primarily lit by a single dim flashlight and was already sort of lacking in the performance department anyways. Now, you know I love lighting, but for me, the real star of the show are the segments that take place on the surface. They did a great job of making the streets of Moscow resemble an icy hell on Earth. Weather effects are great, and the particles of snow flying around really seal the deal. The only downside being very simple ice and snow textures making up the ground you're walking on. But I think that's just another feather in 4A's cap. They may not have had the most detail-rich, high poly count models and textures you could think of, but they lit them in a way that really masked a lot of their shortcomings. The only reason I took note of this outside is because everything out there is flooded with down-firing light when the sun's out, so the great-looking shadows that usually mask a lot of this stuff couldn't really come into play. The effect applied to your gas mask after it's seen some use is perfect in the sense that it's just a small element that helps further your immersion into the game world and walks that razor-thin line between cool effect applied to most of the screen and getting in the way of actual gameplay. It would have been real easy for these condensation and cracked glass effects to get in between me and some good first-person shooting, but just enough of the center of my view was free of distortion, so it never became an issue. What does tend to have that effect, though, are the screen blurs and red mesh that comes with taking damage. Not only is it a real pain in the ass to capture good-looking footage for a video when a good portion of your playthrough was spent looking through a jar of strawberry jelly, but when you get swarmed with no solaces, this can really obscure your view of an already hectic situation. These are very, very small gripes, though. Overall, Metro 2033 is still an incredibly impressive visual package, even in modern terms. For me, style is always going to trump sheer graphical horsepower, and luckily Metro has both on its side. The general design of the world feels appropriately dirty and slapdash. Everything from the guns you use to the shantytowns erected in what used to be a subway station look like they were put together with just the right combination of duct tape and good old-fashioned necessity-based innovation. This is a world that has lost most of its ability to manufacture new things, so everything you see around you is likely hacked together out of some kind of recycled material, and I just love that. And hey, if you liked all that stuff, the good news is that most of it made its way over to the Redux version. Yeah, I said most of it. Talk about one hell of an ominous lead-in.
Doctor, could you check my prostate while you're at it? I'm pissing kind of funny. It's glowing. Must be the radiation, huh?
Before getting into the stuff that was left behind, I think note one on the Redux side of things should be how much more efficient it is to run than vanilla 2033. Like I said before, I always had issues running Metro when fights got tense and several environmental effects combined with dynamic lighting and a whole lot of on-screen mutants. And on nearly that same exact PC, I was able to get a more steady frame rate without sacrificing a whole lot of graphical settings here with Redux. Obviously, it's always good to have something run better, but I don't think they did this for PC players.
Where did he
this was
go?
clearly
He,
a
like,
move
went
for
he,
getting
like,
these games running
disappeared.
on consoles, which is
Come
also
on,
okay,
man.
but there
The
were a
fucking
few
design is
sacrifices made in
horrible.
order to get to that goal. One of those sacrifices being something I may not have noticed myself if it weren't for a comment on a recent
Goddamn
stream here on
sure. I hope
YouTube.
it's over
I had it
soon.
in my head these two games were basically the same aside from a few improvements on the Redux side of things, but that turns out not to be the case. After going back and comparing with the original, the lighting in Redux has been taken down several notches, and as a result, well, remember that analogy I made earlier about a boring room being brought to life with convincing shadows and colors coming from light sources? Well, now you just kind of have that boring room a lot of the time. To be clear though, I'm not saying Redux's lighting looks bad, because it most certainly doesn't. It still does an admirable job at setting tone and providing semi-realistic visuals. It's just that the lighting in the original was so much more impressive by comparison. Okay, so I'm not exactly an expert with a lot of this stuff, and I don't know the terminology very well, so I'll try to explain things in terms that make sense to me. In my opinion, the OG release of 2033 has a lot more contrasting visuals than Redux. What I mean by that is dark scenes are much darker and light sources light up that dark space much better, causing a lot of hardline separation between the two. Even when you get a scene in Redux that's darker than one in 2033, it isn't dark in the same way. In the original, darkness came from the absence of light and the contrasting nature of the few light sources in some areas. In Redux, the dark parts are just grayscale, lacking any kind of shadows, which has a lot of scenes looking flat and lifeless by comparison. Light shafts in the original seem more defined, and the boundaries between them and the dark parts of the screen seem very distinct and separate, leading to 2033 having what I like to call classic PC game lighting. See, back when I was coming up, games like Doom 3 represented the pinnacle of video game lighting. Dark, velvety, inky black levels split by equally bright dynamic lights. Of course, if we're speaking realistically, the more blended, soft nature of the light sources in Redux are more true to life, but the 2000s PC gamer in me just prefers the more harsh, defined nature of 2033's approach. But lest you think I'm just here to insult Redux, the issue is actually the inverse as far as spatial and skin lighting, which looks much better in Redux. Of course, we could lie to ourselves and pretend like this was a stylistic choice made to keep Last Light and 2033 in parity with each other visually speaking, but we both know this was a move made to make sure the series could continue running better and more smoothly on home consoles. And that really sucks because there is a bit of the visual mood that just isn't present when you remove the amazingly dynamic colored lights from the original. And again,
on the last hit, almost always, I've never understood how you managed to get that in your code. It's just like, fucking stop killing me one hit from the end.
Keeping with Redux, despite where it falters a little, there are aspects here that make up for some of my complaints with the original. Textures are now much more high-res looking, and some of the more bland sections have been beefed up a good bit. Cutscenes from 2033 original that used third-person camera angles were cut, replaced with ones using a first-person view, which is actually really cool and further adds to the immersion factor. The only issue being they left the ending cutscene untouched, which feels really lazy to me. Not only does this CG have a different look from Redux, visually speaking, but it's a pretty low-res video file compared to what we've seen so far in the game, so it really stands out. And lastly, one complaint I've had from the get-go with this remaster is just how soft the picture is. OG 2033 had so much of a sharp, almost alias look to its visuals, while Redux is just a tad muddy looking to me. Okay, so I know this hasn't exactly been an overly positive comparison so far, but I don't want to give you guys the wrong idea. There are definitely aspects of Redux that are very clear improvements on the original, and thanks to that, in some scenarios, one may look better, while in others, the roles may be reversed.
No. No. No.
So it's not like you're going to be missing out on the objectively better looking game if you go with Redux, but instead, after you've played one version, maybe give the other one a look and trip out on the subtle differences. It's actually really cool. But hey, you guys know what I love, and that's a game with an ass load of ports. Luckily, that's exactly what's going on here. Metro 2033 and Redux were collectively released on 8 platforms, and I just so happen to have access to most of those releases. So let's check them out.
Let's move our asses, or would you like to enjoy their company a little more?
Hey, what's your tone?
What? Just swing.
And you know what? To hell with saving the best for last. Let's cover my biggest surprise out of this list right up front. Now, it's no secret that I've been known to talk a whole mountain of shit about the Nintendo Switch, and most of that animosity comes from how underpowered it is and how many ports it keeps receiving. And it doesn't help that what I'm about to say are hard facts and not my opinion, but everything from ports to first-party titles on Switch are known to routinely underperform and struggle to even run in diminished resolutions below 60 FPS. So imagine my absolute surprise when the Switch port of 2033 Redux maintained its hard 30 FPS target the entire time I played it. I was genuinely blown away when I realized I was playing a Switch game and it wasn't dropping tons of frames during gameplay. Apparently, this port makes use of some new tech that'll let the game dynamically lower and raise its internal render resolution as needed, and I can confirm it definitely gets the job done. I truly didn't notice a single instance where the frame rate in-game dropped at all. But, of course, there is a downside to this sorcery. The result of a lower render resolution, even if your Switch is set to 1080p output, means you'll effectively be getting a 720p picture scaled to 1080p, and that's at the best of times. When the Switch starts to struggle, you can definitely expect that resolution.
Come on, man! You instantly kill me in under a second. It's not good design.
Actually, not much of an issue in
fucking
handheld
worthless
mode on the
piece of
Switch's
shit
own
developers.
screen. From what I can tell,
Come
lighting
on,
and shadows
man! I do
haven't
this
been
fucking
scaled back
9-minute thing with
noticeably
him, and I
compared
do
to
your
other
little
console
dance, and
ports,
I do it
although I'm
right,
sure in some
and all the
areas they
stupid
have.
shit, and then
But
you
overall,
just
the
erase
trade-off
my
seems to have
out bar.
reached an
You
equilibrium with
fucking
the
worthless
upside. So if
cocksuckers.
you are planning
Fuck
on
you.
playing a little Metro
It was
Redux
worthless
on a
in WoW,
console,
and it sucks dick
does
now.
feel odd
Get the
coming out of my
one
mouth,
shots
but
out of your worthless ass
the Switch port is a
gameplay.
great
Get it the
option.
fuck gone.
Sure, 30 frames
I'll
per
take
second
I'll
and
take
a
a
softer
60%
picture
hit,
is not ideal
something,
for a
not
shooter,
99.
but you really can't do any better than this on a
Your
handheld
one-shots
platform
fucking
I can get
suck.
my hands on, and the concept of exploring the Moscow metro system on the go is inherently pleasing. Plus, there's motion aiming, which lets you continue moving your view with the right analog stick, but allows for more fine movements to be done by actually moving your controller or console around. I've been interested in this feature for a long while, thanks to the YouTuber Neryl not shutting the hell up about it, and after getting my hands on it, I can say, maybe it's not for me. It may be something I end up getting used to, but the idea of using two separate but simultaneous input methods to accomplish a single goal is kind of stupid. And I really don't like my camera bobbing all over the place when I'm running around and my controller isn't perfectly still. I have a naturally shaky hand and I don't stay still while I'm gaming, so I feel like this probably just isn't the kind of feature for me. That being said, it's always great to have more options as far as controls go, and it might be something that'll help out someone watching this now. So overall, it's pretty cool.
Players
I was able to get a physical copy of Redux from a local GameStop for like $20 on sale, and it includes both remastered versions of 2033 and Last Light. That's a whole lot of positives for anyone to turn their nose up at. So if you're in the market for something good to play on the Switch, you really can't do much better than a little Metro. A case I can't quite make for the next port.
Should be fun. More dangerous. Even better, right?
The original non-Redux version of 2033 was released on the two HD consoles of its day, the PS3 and 360, and after putting in a little time with the latter, I can safely say
damage on me for no reason when he's at one health. Why? Why do you design like this, you fucking worthless piece of shit junk artist? Why do you do this stupid shit? You've stolen 25 minutes from me with this or something. Why? Why do you feel this is necessary?
When they were moving even a little bit, because they could be totally still 1
worthless
second,
ass
and the
design.
next they've seemingly teleported out of the way
Let's
of my
do your
bullets.
bullshit over
Some
again and
pretty
over and
nasty
over and
screen
over
tearing
again
definitely
till your
doesn't help this
RNG
issue,
decides I
and it's most
pass your
likely to
fucking
happen when there are a few
retard
mutants in
litmus
your
test.
face, aka most of the
idiot
time you're
piece
fighting
of shit
mutants.
developers.
Also, the console ports of 2033
Nobody likes this shit.
were
Have you
widely
woken
known
up
for
to it
nerfing
yet?
the
Nobody
lighting
likes
effects.
this stupid shit.
I'd say
They
this
just
is
like that you
definitely
make it.
noticeable,
That's
but
it.
not what I would
Nobody
call a
likes this
massive downgrade.
experience. What
To
the
be
fuck,
honest,
man?
even with the
It's
lighting
why
effects
Mythic
turned
Rating
down, they still
died
look
and
a
nobody
little
cares
more
about
impressive
dungeons
than the console
anymore.
version of
Nobody
Redux
cares about
to
this
me.
stupid shit.
Of course, I don't
Why do
exactly
you keep
expect
doing
anyone to
it?
go out and purposely buy an out-of-date version of a game that's
So
available
dumb.
on new, more accessible consoles, but if you do fall into that group, please consider getting the Switch version instead. As far as I go, well, I find these ports inherently interesting, so I couldn't pass up the chance to indulge my nerdy obsession here for this video, even though I know there's statistically zero people out there questioning if they should pull the trigger on that old 360 game nowadays. Yes, it's definitely cool to see from an analytical point of view, but that doesn't do much to cover the sting of spending more than $15 on a port of a game I'll never play just for less than a minute or two of footage in a video I'm working on. One of the lesser talked about side effects of running one of these channels. I would love to see if the PS3 version does any better or any worse, but honestly, I really don't think that information would do anyone any good today. If you have tested them side by side, feel free to let me know how they differ, because I am honestly curious. Just not
No, you're
curious
gonna kill me.
enough
No,
to
no,
buy
no,
one
no,
more
no, no. I
superfluous
can't do
port of a game
anything.
I already own 5
Come
copies
on,
of.
man. Why
It's
do
got
you
poor
design
accuracy and
like
overheats
this?
like hell.
Come on,
That's
man.
why they call it a bastard gun.
Why do you design
And
like
next
this?
up is the
you fucking
last gen
stupid
release of the Redux
cocksucker
collection.
developers.
We'll be looking
Fuck
at the PS4
you.
port here,
You know I
but I don't
paid your
suspect there's
fucking
going to be a
litmus
lot of
test like
variance between
5
the two,
times
so
now.
this should
You
be
killed me at
conclusive enough for the
1%,
time
like
being.
5 times.
And right
Why?
from the
Why
start,
do
I
you
was
design
really
like this?
impressed with this port's
Goddamn
ability
quarter
to keep a
stealing
fairly
junk
steady
artists,
60
assholes,
FPS frame
wasting
rate.
my fucking
Sadly,
time
even now,
in your
finding a
time
nearly
stealing,
current-gen
time
title that
sink
runs at a
game.
consistently high
Asshole.
frame rate can be a little hard, but Metro seems to handle most scenarios perfectly. I did notice a bit
pressing
of
a button
slowdown,
over
but
again
it was
over and
only in
over again
parts of the
is
game
so
where it
dumb.
wouldn't
Why
really
the
matter
goddamn
much, like
bullet
the station
sponge?
sections
I
with
am
a lot of
full
NPCs
700
showing
eye
up
level.
on
Why
screen.
is this guy
In
bullet sponge?
combat, I found
Why?
this version to play so much better than any of the console
is this guy
ports I've
bullet
tried
sponge?
so
It's
far,
bullshit.
which, duh, of course it would be. Shooting is nice and easy though, and I was able to reliably hit my targets, which is all I ask for. Compared to the Switch version, this is so much more smooth and easy to play. Of course, that is to be expected with an extra 30 frames per second to mess around with, and like I said, the Switch port is still a great choice if you're looking to play on the go, but there's really no contest between the two as far
Please,
as on the
you
couch
took
gaming
my
goes.
thing away. You
As
took
you
my
might
weapon away
expect,
for
some
no
of the lighting
reason.
effects have been
Why?
significantly
Let me
toned
do
down
things.
in
Am I
order to ensure
silenced
that
or
60
what, you
FPS
fucking
lock,
idiot?
and looking at PC
Jesus
and PS4
Christ,
back-to-back,
man.
it's pretty egregious, but
was
in
that?
game I
You,
don't
like,
think it's going to
sucked my
turn
mana
anyone
out or
off too
something.
much.
Fuck
The
was
overall
this?
picture here is surprisingly
Worthless
smooth
ass
too,
piece
which
of
means
shit
they've got some
bosses
form of
do too much
anti-aliasing
damage
running
and
in the
fuck
background,
you up for
something
no
that's
reason.
pretty impressive
Come on,
for a
man,
game
heal,
that
heal.
looks and runs
Go,
this
go.
well. When I started a
Go,
new
go.
game,
I
I
haven't been
found
able
the
to do
default
anything
stick
for a long
sensitivity to
time.
be a
Let me
little
do
too low for
something.
my liking,
Worthless
but
piece of
other
shit
than that, it
developers.
was a nearly perfect
Let me do
time.
something, motherfucker.
Everything
Let me do
feels like
something
it
to
should
him.
and
It's been
plays just
fucking
like it does on
3
PC.
minutes of your
In
bullshit.
fact, if I were
Let's
going to
go.
sit down for a little
Fucking
Metro
can't
in the
stand
living room, this is
experiences
without
like
a doubt the
this.
port I would reach
Worthless
for.
piece of
So it
shit.
seems to me
Get
that
this shit from
PS4 release is the way to
1994
go.
the fuck out
Not
of here.
only is it impressively
Fucking
good
come
looking,
on,
even
man.
for a PS4
God
title,
damn it,
but
no,
it runs
no,
well
no,
enough
no, no,
that
no,
those
no,
good
no,
looks
no,
don't get in the way of
nope.
some smooth gameplay.
Why do you design
there
like
for a
this? He's 3
surprise,
bars from the end.
big
You
boy.
suck so much dick.
I can definitely
Why?
say that Metro 2033 has one of the most interesting port catalogs I've ever seen before. It's not often you see a game ported to so many consoles with so many different variations, and honestly, nearly all of them are viable depending on your taste or situation. But if we're grading it on presentation, we're going to need to break it up into 2 categories, one for 2033 and one for Redux. And as far as 2033 goes, it is
This
still
WoW
one of the
shit.
more
Why do you
impressive
suck on
games
WoW's
released in
dick so
recent
much?
memory
You're
as far
not
as
good
my
at
eyes
it.
go.
Fucking
Not only did I
AGS.
think
You're
a
not good at
massive
it. This is
development
not
team and
good.
mountains
Why do
of
you
cash
suck
were
us so
necessary
much
for this
WoW
kind
dick?
of a look,
Get us
but
away
I
from
really
WoW,
didn't
away
expect to
from
like
it.
something looking to compete with my
Dumb
darling,
piece
the
of
Stalker
fucking
series.
shit.
Going off of
Fucking
sheer
asshole
hardware-stressing
developers.
presentation,
Wasting
2033
my
deserves
fucking time
appreciation
with
for all
their
the
bullshit
complex
ass corner
effects they were
stealing
able to
time
not only
sink.
implement but
Fucking
also
assholes.
include in console versions, something not all that common back in the 360 era. The
You
case
made me
for
so
Redux,
mad
however,
with
is
your played out
perplexingly less
bullshit
impressive.
1994
Of course, some
Diablo
elements
ass
of the
WoW
game have been
design.
nerfed for
Fuck
what I
your
think is
Blizzard
an obvious
bullshit.
try
Stop
at console
copying them.
optimization,
They're
and
dead.
that does suck.
Stop
But I would be
copying
much
them.
more upset if they
They're
hadn't
dead
traded that
because it's
off by
played
making
out.
so many
Stop
improvements
playing them.
elsewhere.
Stop playing
So
them
there's
out for
definitely
them.
a
Stop
lot of
playing
good
out
to consider
copying
here,
them.
but there's
They're
still an
dead
issue.
'cause they're played
This
out.
isn't
Stop
some
copying them.
standalone game that we can
God
judge
damn
in a
it.
vacuum.
Nope.
It's a re-release or remaster of a game that was previously out, and I don't think it's possible to measure up one without looking
Please.
at the other.
Nope.
If you are, however, judging it on its own, as if 2033 never existed, yes, it is incredibly impressive. That being said, as the only
Please.
version of the game most people will see bearing the Metro 2033 title, it does its job
Fight.
remarkably well.
Come on, let's go.
In fact, if you're like me
You are
and haven't
so
played the original
annoying.
release in a long time, you might be
So
forgiven for thinking not
annoying.
much has changed here at all. And really the most important takeaway here is that no version of Metro 2033 I've tested is a bad way to play the game. I mean, yeah, the 360 version's pretty
Please!
shitty, but in the
Nope.
context of
Nope.
other PC to console ports at the
Nope.
time,
Can't
it's
do
a
it.
lot
You're
better,
dumping
trust
damage.
me.
I can't do anything.
This is on its own a great
please,
gameplay
please, 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 please,
experience,
please,
and
please,
that
please,
experience
please, please,
remains
please,
roughly
please.
unchanged across all of its ports. So I can't really say which one you should go for, since each one kind of serves a slightly
Please,
different
please, please,
purpose.
please, please, please,
But
please, please,
regardless, let's
please,
get
please,
all of the
please, please,
contenders in here for a little
Roll,
side-by-side
roll,
action.
roll.
As you would expect,
No!
the PC
Why do you
ports of
do this? Why do
2033
you
and
design
Redux are
like
best in
this?
class
You
for their
stupid
respective
fucking
releases, but
cocksuckers.
really the
Why?
console ports are nothing to
Why do you
scoff
design
at.
like
The
this?
Switch
Nobody
version
ever
may
liked
immediately
it.
jump
WoW's
out as
dead
being
because of it.
softer
Why
and
do you
more
do this
smudgy
stupid
looking,
shit?
but I
Fuck
can
you
personally
guys.
confirm this picture looks much better on the Switch's screen in portable mode, which is likely the way you'll be playing.
I've killed him like 7
Obviously, though,
times
the
now.
PS4
Give me my
port is the
kill.
king of the
You
console
fucking
releases.
cocksuckers.
Its amazing
Quarter
performance and sheer
stealing
parody
junk
of the
artists.
PC version
I
is
swear to
genuinely
God.
praiseworthy. It may suck 4A took a bit of a hacksaw to their original vision so they could make a console version of that vision, but they deserve a little recognition for actually
Fucking
making that
noobs.
approach work
Fucking
as well as it
noob-ass
does.
developers
And it
have
would be
no
a little
idea WoW's
dishonest
dead
if I
'cause they
didn't
don't
also
pay
mention
attention,
the
I guess.
stretching issue
Too
I
busy
have on
crunch
PC.
timing or some
Again,
bullshit
I'm
ass
not sure
fucking
why it's going
excuse.
on or if
Fucking
it's
play
limited in my
WoW and you
setup, but
understand. Nobody
going
can
knowing you
stand
might
this
have
shit
a
anymore.
slightly thinner
Stop
picture
doing
than
it. Stop
normal.
trying to be WoW
Regardless of
raids.
which port you
Nobody
choose,
likes
though,
WoW
you are
raids. Nobody
guaranteed
does
an
them.
amazing visual experience. With a guy like
so
me, it can be
stupid.
very easy to get lost in engine specs, fancy lighting techniques,
Wake
and
up.
post-processing.
I need you to
effects.
wake
All
up in
things, by the way, you
2024.
can find
Nobody
in
gives a
spades
shit about
here,
WoW
but I also
or
have
WoW
to stand in
bosses.
awe of the sheer
Nobody.
artistry on
Nobody.
display.
My friend
Once you
just
strip
full-blown
away
quit
all
the
the
game,
fancy
and he
graphics,
loves you
you
the
still have
most,
a
and he
solid
loves WoW the
core
most
of
anybody's
well-thought-out and
ever loved
visually
WoW, and he just
interesting
quit the game.
ideas.
And you
The
copying
Russian
him
Metro
relentlessly.
looks
You
so
fucking
damn
suck. Make
convincing
your
that
own
its
content.
decades of piled up
Goddamn
trash and
piece of
human
shit,
remains,
AGS.
and the look of the nuclear winter ravaged Moscow
I can't get any
streets are
time
just
on
to
him because
die
he
for.
constantly just
All
do
over the
catastrophic damage to me while I wail on him for 8,500 hits. It's not good design anymore. Your bullshit ass fucking Dark Souls bosses are not good goddamn design anymore. You couldn't pay me to play play a Dark Souls game anymore. You know what I'm saying? This shit is not fun. Look how it's so stupid. It's like wailing on a wall while you get one shot. It's all it is. Wail on a wall while you get one shot. It's fucking so simplistic. A piece of shit 1994 fucking bullshit design. God damn it. Come on, man. Do something. Please let me do something. No, please let me heal. Please let me heal. Oh, let me heal. Let me heal. Let me heal. No. Ah, move. Oh, damn it. No, heal. Yes, go. No. Roll. Roll. Potion. Roll. Block. Heal. Nope. One shot. Why are you like this? Why do you fail so badly at your own fucking life's passion? I don't, but you do. Yeah, you fail so much worse than me. This is your fucking life's passion, and this is what you delivered? Jesus fucking Christ, you guys fucking embarrass me with the honesty of your fucking failure. Jesus Christ, no wonder. If this is what you think is gonna save your fucking game, this isn't it, motherfucker. This is not it. This is not it. I'm not even gonna fucking move anymore. I'm not gonna fucking move. I refuse to move on this boss. I just want him to die, that's all. That's all. Please let me do something. Let me get my sword back. You assholes. Draining my mana. Why? Fucking so annoying. Heal, 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 heal. Oh, come on. Go, go, go. Ah, heal. Okay, go. Go, go. Heal, heal. Heal, heal. Okay, go. Get it back on him. Oh my god, move. Move. I can't move. I can't move. You're so annoying. Your bosses are so bullshit. I hate your fucking bosses in 2024. They're so annoying. Please, please, please. It's like wailing on a brick wall of the developer's idiot mind while you get one shot for fucking 45 minutes till you pass the RNG. It was the same old bullshit that WoW sucked dick with and died with, and you insist on copying it. Why? This horse shit is so goddamn dumb. Why? Dear God, why? I've got 6 minutes left. I don't even think I can make another attempt. Maybe. We'll see. Whatever. I'm not even moving this time. Fuck that. I'll just fucking stand and I'll heal right on top of him. Fuck him. Honestly, the more I fight them, the less I want to do your mechanics. So I just refuse to do it. I just stand there. Fuck that. I'll fucking out DPS you through it. It's so goddamn stupid. Fucking such terrible ass design. Fucking terrible. Where did my sword go? I'm out of ammo for some reason. Why? Whatever, I'm just gonna fucking see what I can do. See what I can do. Come on, man, give me the mana back to drop my fucking thing. There it is. Give me the mana back. Don't kill me, don't kill me. Roll, roll. Okay, get it up first, then heal. Block. Okay, get the mana back. Yep, there. Now. Okay, you. Nope. I want to do some damage to him. I want to do some damage to him. Oh, move. No. No. Please heal. Please heal. Oh. Oh. Got a block. I didn't get the fucking thing down, and you instant one-shot me, you worthless piece of shit. Fuck your bullshit. I'm done with this. Goodbye. Why you insist on stealing my time with a max eye level is fucking stupid. I have max eye level. I'm doing all your calls. You're fucking so stupid. You're so stupid. I'll take another attempt because I have to, but I hate you so much. I can't stand you fucking piece of shit old scrub developers that think that WoW is still cool in 2024. WoW's not cool. They lost 16 million subs because of bullshit like this. This played out shit was cool for like 5 years, and here we are in 2024, fucking 15 years later, and you fucking assholes are still fucking up. You're still trying to copy their design instead of being yourself. You're fucking so stupid. It's what ruined your launch. It's what's gonna ruin the Eternum. If this is what you think is good game, it's not. It's not. Fucking get this shit the fuck out of the game. Get this shit the fuck out of here. God damn it, this is so bad. Come on, man. I'm standing here wailing on a wall while he one-shots me. Why? You think this is good gameplay? No. Look at how much time you probably spent making this too. Why? Dear God, why? It's such a poisonous, shitty, toxic experience. Come on, man. Why? No! Don't kill me. No! You switch weapons on me. Why? Why? You're killing me for no reason. Why? You fucked me. You wouldn't let me get my weapon out or do anything at all. Why? Why? Okay, thank you. Okay, I'm sorry I insulted you. I know your terrible design needs to rob me, but I'm sorry I offended you. I'm sorry. Your piece of shit design is so terrible. I'm sorry I offended you. Sorry. I'm sorry. God damn it, please don't one-shot me. Please don't one-shot me. I've got to hit you 8,500 more times. Please don't one-shot me. Please don't one-shot me. I have to hit you 8,500 times. Please do not one-shot me. 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 It was like endless attacks for fucking 20 fucking minutes. What the fuck was that? What is with your fucking worthless ass design? Come on, man. Come on, man. It was so fun. I played all night. It was so fun. Till we came to this, and you see the PvE care pair fucking dick down your worthless AGS developer throat, and you suck dick at Lost Ark PvE, you suck dick at Throne of Liberty PvE, and you suck dick at New World PvE. You need to fucking accept it. You don't suck at PvE. You suck at dungeons. You suck dick at dungeons and bosses. Your bosses are great in the public raid, but I don't know why you think this is acceptable. Shit. All my buffs are gonna wear like before this fight's over, of course. And that's just another way that you fucking rob me, is buffs that wear off all the fucking time. That's a time sink to go re-up the goddamn worthless buffs again. Fucking stupid. So then the buffs are always out when you need them the most. So fucking stupid. Bullshit played out World of Warcraft shit from 2001, even older than that, EverQuest and Ultima Online, buffs that I just don't give two shits about. Yeah, I heard you're getting rid of durability, get rid of the goddamn buffs too, or whatever. Get rid of the buffs wearing off. Give them all 5 hour, like 6, 7, 8 hour signet durations or whatever, and stop fucking like dropping the buffs. Stop dropping the buffs, period. Please, please. Oh God, please. Please don't kill me. Roll. 1, 2, 3. Roll out. You hurt me really bad. Come on. Come on, man. It's so stupid. This is such terrible ass design. You one-shot me again. Right at the second and a half bar. I refuse to do this fight any further. I believe you have full-blown fucking quarter stolen fucking written the code to jack me. And now we're out of time anyways. Kick me the fuck out of here. And your fucking bullshit ass WoW fucking bullshit from 25 fucking years ago about fucking enrages and kick out timers and fucking bullshit ass fucking respawn points and doors and fucking idiot ass fucking dungeons and linear with no fucking no discernible features that matter except for the boss. Why waste the time of the time sink to run up there? Look how long this run is. Why? This whole fucking worthless fucking experience is the worst goddamn shit I've seen out of AGS. It absolutely is. I've seen some really bad shit out of them, but this was the worst experience I've had with New World, and I'm never stepping foot in there ever again. Not ever again. I don't care if it's your season or whatever. I'll stop at the season right here. I don't give a fuck about your content. I've got so many goddamn games to play. I don't need to do your fucking worthless ass bullshit ass fucking raid boss from 2001. Suck my fucking dick and get better. I need you to get fucking better. I expect mighty things out of AGS. This isn't it. Do better.
Place, you'll find interesting design choices that help give Metro a look and feel really all of its own. Okay, so I know I've talked a lot about Stalker in this video that's...
How much damage did I do to that boss? It must have been something like 2.8 goddamn billion or something like that. Let me kill it. It was like wailing on a goddamn wall for 15 fucking minutes. Why? with a full maxed out 700 eye level, fucking completely specced out fucking focus like void gauntlet, and I'm hitting like a fucking kitten, wailing on a fucking wall. Why? Why even let me in there then? Why let me in there solo? If it's like that, why would you design like that? You're fucking bad at this, you fucking scrub ass noobs. You're so noob. You've only been doing this for like, what, 7-8 years, and it fucking shows. Did you even play World of Warcraft? Jesus. You haven't played it recently, have you? Or you would see how fucking dead it is. You'd be terrified to copy them. You'd be straight up terrified to copy them. No one else will. They all know it's death. Look at what's happening in Throne of Liberty. They probably lost like 300,000 in a day. You copy WoW, you're dead. You're fucking dead. This shit is death. This is the death of your product. You're fucking worthless. Like, full blown. You're not worthless, excuse me at all. Your design in there was worthless. Fucking disgrace and embarrassment to experience. I'm gonna forget this ever happened. I'm gonna forget it exists. And when I come back here ever, I'm gonna be like, oh no, I remember this piece of shit. Fuck no. You can suck a dick. Fuck no. Absolutely not. No. Okay, let's just abandon. Sorry. Yeah, this was cool. You know, it was cool for a while. But bye. Yeah, that shit's not worth even fucking, like, you saw the experience. You saw the fucking, like, that, like, on that wonderful note, I'm gonna stop. Jesus fucking Christ, man. That was some of the most mortifyingly bad goddamn design I've ever seen in my life. And I've killed every boss WoW's ever done. I've killed every boss CSO's ever done. I've killed Final Fantasy 14, every boss they've ever done. I've done every boss in Final Fantasy 11. I've done every boss in almost every single goddamn MMO. Most of the EvE bosses, most of every boss in every MMO. And that was hands down the worst goddamn boss I've ever fucking fought. Hands down. Worst design, bullshit. Go back to the fucking drawing board with it. Worst boss I've ever fought. Lose my goddamn voice yelling at your worthless ass goddamn fucking design at fucking 6 in the morning. You guys are so toxic and shitty when you copy WoW. Fuck you. Same goes for the, you know why? Because I fought this boss. I fought this boss on Throne of Liberty, and he kicked 7 people's ass. It was the exact same boss with the exact same worthless design. Killed us all over and over and over again for 45 fucking minutes till the RNG finally let one guy solo it from fucking 23%. He would kill all 6 of us at 23%. You think I'm stupid, but I can see it. I've seen how you've hard-coded it into your fucking design. It just full-blown wipes the entire board at 23%. It robs our quarters, steals our time for 45 minutes until you realize that, until the system realizes that it's made 5 or 6 or 7 attempts, and it finally lets you get past that 23% mark and lets some dude solo it, or lets you get through it, or something like that. But as the boss is right now, it is impossible solo in a light set, and that means you designed it badly. It's not fun. It's not fun solo. It won't be fun 10-man. It's not fun to get frozen all the fucking time. That's the one thing as a boss that you just shouldn't do. Fucking freeze us all the time on some shitty ass raid boss. If you don't believe me, consult Sindragosa. Jesus fucking Christ, that's every WoW player's like worst nightmare. Jesus fucking Christ, man. They don't want to return to Sindragosa. So the first thing that you do is you make a shitty ass Sindragosa boss, and you know we hate that fucking boss. You are so stupid. Play WoW more if you don't know it. I know you might have been too busy making fucking games, but why should you be making the game like this if you don't know this stuff? Why should you be making the game then if you don't know this stuff? Don't ever make that boss ever again. Don't be making frost bosses that fucking suck dick and one-shot you and spin the whole room like that. Nobody likes Safety Dance in 2024. That was 2007. It hasn't ever been done since because nobody fucking likes it. Don't fucking do it again. Nobody likes Safety Dance. Don't ever fucking spray those fucking floors ever again. Don't be doing shit that I need GTFO for or anything like that. Don't be doing stupid-ass WoW shit, you fucking worthless cocksucker AGS developers. We've been yelling at you so long, but like, I'm gonna come back your fucking game, but you have to promise me you will be competent, and that was not it. Everything else in the game is, but that was not it. And you fucking cockblocked the end of the season with it. It's like it's like the premature ejaculation on prom night. It's fucking disgusting to watch your goddamn mismanagement, and I will not hold back. I will tell you every fucking word. Every fucking word. And on that negative ass note, I'm gonna stop playing your game because it was like, man, when the game gets goddamn toxic, you fucking stop. You just stop. You don't put up with them. You don't put up with their toxic ass bullshit World of Warcraft 2003 design. All the WoW streamers are gone except for Asmongold. WoW itself is completely dead. All of those developers have quit and or gone to jail or gotten fired or fucking sued. And like, you guys want to copy them. You're fucking stupid. You're stupid and somebody should fucking tell you. You're really stupid. Don't copy WoW. Don't do it in Lost Ark. Don't do it in fucking Throne and Liberty. Stop copying WoW. Nobody wants you to copy WoW. Ashes of Creation is gonna fucking suck because Steven Sharif is copying WoW. Trust me. I'm not worried about Ashes of Creation. I know you are. I'm not worried about it because they're copying WoW. The less you can copy WoW, the fucking better. Trust me. Your open full loot drop zone, I'll die there 65,000 times or something, but I'll only give that boss maybe 10 times before I'll never touch that worthless ass World of Warcraft cocksuckery content fuckery ever the fuck again. I'm never gonna play that boss again. You think I'm joking? No. I'll take the exit of the fucking achievement. I'll take the laughter of the community. You can quote me all you fucking want. I'm never touching that worthless piece of shit content boss ever the fuck again. And I'm not touching any raid bosses in some kind of I'm not touching an instance raid boss ever again in New World. Never again. You guys don't have the skill. You don't have the design. You don't know what it is. You never played Sindragosa, so you don't know how mad that makes me. You don't know how bad Frost is. You fucking piss me off. You do. But why? Why would you do that? Why would you make the first raid boss Frost? That's what you do at the end of the raid, you fucking idiot. If you played WoW, you would know. Nobody opens up first raid boss Frost. You're fucking stupid. Nobody in the history of MMOs has done that. But you're noob ass motherfuckers, so you do make fuck up mistakes like that. And you bring Sindragosa, boss 1. You're fucking stupid, guys. I'm terribly sorry, but you are. Somebody needs to rip you a new butthole. And it's not, it's me. But understand, you're going to be like, nah, this person needs help. He needs to calm down or whatever. No. Everything I'm saying is exactly true. And you should fucking hear it. You have the chance to finally kill WoW. You won't get it done by copying WoW. Somebody needs to fucking tell you. You won't get it done by copying WoW. Stop torturing us with bullshit-ass WoW stuff. I won't go back to retail because their experience is entirely what you just gave me. I won't go back to it. I just won't. I won't touch it. I won't deal with. I'll play. I'll fucking farm cactus in your brimstone for 10 more fucking years before I'll ever touch that boss again. You're so fucking stupid. Don't ever do this again.
About Metro, but
that's all I have to say.
Allow me one more comparison because these two are so similar. And
Jesus fucking Christ, what's wrong with this fucking industry now, man? What happened to you guys? Like, come on, man. Like, I swept through all of the fucking season today, and then I bang one boss for 50 fucking minutes? What? I killed 5 other bosses. Why this one? You're stupid. You're stupid. Your design is so stupid. Don't let me go in there solo then. Don't let me go in there solo if you think that if you're gonna one-shot me at 23% 7 times in a row. Why? Why did you make the last third fucking phase when he's at 1 health bar? 1 health bar. And you fucking one-shot the entire fucking room like Ian Cocksucker Hazakostas. You fucking suck dick. Jesus Christ, man. Get a clue in 2024. How did you tank this $1 billion license like this? Man, you're lucky I'm coming back on the motherfucking 15 because this left a bad taste in my mouth. And the kids should see it. And I'm going to publish it too. The rage and everything, and I hope sooner or later they put me on LSF or something and they make your incompetence fucking even more famous. You know what I'm saying? You can see how piece of shit that boss was. How it got past testing is beyond me. And anybody who told you that it's fun is fucking bad. Like, straight up bad. They're lying to you. It's fun to yell at you about this. It really is. Thank you for the content for my stream. It's fun to yell at you, AGS. You should know better. Get that WoW dick out of your fucking mouth. It doesn't taste good or whatever, you know? You of all people should know you've got it in your mouth. That WoW dick in your mouth, it doesn't taste good, and you know it doesn't. You fucked up your game trying to make your game like theirs. And you know what happened. 2 million people left. And that WoW dick's been in your fucking mouth for 5 years and shit, and it needs to get the fuck out. Your Brimstone was great, your content was great, Angry Earth was great, ECRs is great, but stop doing raids, stop doing dungeons, and stop trying to be WoW. That's not you. And you can't do it. You don't know how to do it. Your dungeons suck dick. Your raid bosses that are instanced fucking suck dick and are worthless. Your mutations are a joke, and mutations were never fun in the first place. Be they WoW fucking, WoW mutations, or fucking, they were never fun in the first place. Only weird, shitty OCD nerds on the method level thought they were cool. I don't know anybody in the community who thought that goddamn mythic fucking dungeons were cool. I don't know a single person, you understand? And I know like tens of thousands of WoW players. You know what I'm saying? I've never met a single one that ever said mythic dungeons were cool, except for the people at the top. That was it. And you got your brainwashed by idiot method or something like that. Is somebody needs to wake you up. You know what I'm saying? Wake up, motherfucker. Like, bang, bang, bang. Wake up, motherfucker. WoW isn't cool anymore. Knock, 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 knock. Are you aware of the 16 million people that left? WoW, knock, 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 knock. Hey, anybody in there, AGS? WoW isn't cool anymore. Stop copying them. Jesus Christ, man. And on that wonderfully positive note of toxic, horrible gameplay, I'm going to leave you guys with a smile. And I'm going to say, I'm sorry for AGS's noobhood. I'm sorry for sucking the toddler. I know there's 7-year-old toddlers or something like that in this industry, and they're just not perfect and stuff. I get it. And I'm sorry I sucked the toddler. But see, you sucked me for 45 fucking minutes, so I sucked you for 45 minutes. See how it feels? It's fun, isn't it? To fucking waste 45 minutes of your life to negativity and toxicity. Isn't it fun? That's how your boss was. So I gave you right the fuck back what you gave me. Isn't it fun? It's only fair. You guys have a good night. I love you. This has been Skycat Live. I'm a full-time variety gamer all day, every day. Put me on in the background. Click on the cat space to donate. Click on the Twitch or the YouTube, Don't be like AGS. Don't do instance dungeons or bosses or what the last 50 years of video games did. Do something new and original. Don't be like Marvel and these cocksuckers driving Joker into the fucking ground and all that, and AGS fucking up and putting WoW's dick in their mouth so far that there's a hole in their cheek, right? Don't be like that. You got to be original in the modern age. You know what AGS is planning on doing? They're planning to add swimming. They added mounts. They're going to add flying. And one day in 5 or 10 years, they'll finally be World of Warcraft. And no, that's not going to work for you, AGS. It'll kill your game. You've got to keep doing the cool content that you do. ECRs and motherfucking full loot, new zones and all that other stuff. But the quest line sucks. The dungeons fucking suck. That instance raid boss really sucked. It's like the worst boss I've ever fucking fought in my life. Not in terms of hard, but in terms of the design. You can stand on the boss and wail on it for most of the fight till you stole my quarters at 23% like fucking clockwork. All 7 runs on phase 3, and trust me, if that shit was still cool, you would hear about anybody ever raiding in the last 10 years. But no, nobody's raided in 10 years except Method. They're like the only people, only the top 10 guilds even bother raiding anymore, and you guys want to poison your game with it. Wake the fuck up. You had a solution to it called ECR. Why did you waste your time on this instance raid boss? Make us more ECRs. You're fucking stupid. All you have to do is make another monument. You're so stupid. That's so much easier than that worthless ass raid boss you had to tune for fucking Care Bears who don't like fucking dungeons anymore or raids. It doesn't really make sense. Somebody should call you on it. Anyways, I love you guys. I've been Skycat Live. I'm a full-time variety gamer all day, every day. Put me on in the background. Click on the cat space to donate. This 13 and a half hour fucking toxic ass session that ended toxic, but was really positive for, I swear to God, it was really fucking positive until their worthless design came across the screen for all 13 hours or something like that. I did not rage. I'm not normally like this. I didn't do that for 13 hours or anything like that. I just gave them the exact 45 minutes of toxic bullshit that they gave me right the fuck back in a publishable form that can be repeated on the internet in the hopes that my message reaches their fucking idiot ears. Because I'm the only one who'll tell them the truth. I know it is. All the rest of the fanboys are like, hey, yeah, that was cool. No, that wasn't cool. It wasn't. Love you guys. So this 13 hour and 30 minute session is ending right now.